If you listen to the biggest songs globally right now, you will notice something: they sound empty, not in a bad way, but deliberately sparse, minimal beats, simple melodies. Lots of space and silence. This is not a coincidence or laziness. It is a specific aesthetic choice that has come to dominate contemporary music production, and understanding why this happened tells you a lot about how listening itself has changed. Minimalism in music is not new. Experimental composers in the 1960s like Steve Reich and Philip Glass built entire careers on repetition and reduction, stripping music down to its essential elements. But what is happening now in pop and hip-hop and electronic music is different. It is not art music minimalism. It is commercial minimalism designed for mass consumption through specific technological platforms, and that changes everything. The shift toward minimal production accelerated dramatically in the 2010s. You can hear it clearly. If you compare a pop song from 2008 to one from 2018, the earlier track is probably densely layered, multiple instrumental parts, harmonies, ad-libs, everything fighting for space in the mix. The later track is stripped down, kick, snare, hi-hat, maybe one synth line, lots of empty space, the vocal sitting right in front, totally exposed. Several factors drove this change, and they are all interconnected. The first is streaming, and specifically mobile listening. Most people now listen to music through phone speakers or cheap earbuds in noisy environments, commuting, walking, working out. Dense production does not translate well in these conditions. All the layers blur together into mush. Minimal production with clear separation between elements actually sounds better on a phone speaker. You can hear everything because there is less to hear. This is the opposite of how music worked in previous eras. When high-fidelity home stereo systems were the primary listening format, producers would create dense, complex mixes that rewarded careful listening on good equipment. You were supposed to sit between two speakers and hear all the details. Now music has to work while you are distracted on a bus with bad headphones. The production adapts. The second factor is short-form video platforms. Music that works in 15-second clips needs to be immediately distinctive, and minimal production achieves this. A sparse beat with a catchy vocal hook is instantly recognizable. Even in a short loop, dense production takes time to unfold. You need to hear how the layers interact. Minimal production delivers its impact in seconds. The third factor is global circulation. Music crosses language and cultural barriers more easily when the production is simple and clear. A minimal beat translates everywhere. You do not need cultural context to feel a kick drum and a snare. Complex instrumental arrangements might reference specific musical traditions that do not travel. Minimal beats are almost universal in their simplicity. Hip-hop led this shift. Trap production, which became globally dominant in the 2010s, is built on minimalism. 808 bass, kick, snare, hi-hat, roll, maybe some atmospheric pad in the background. That is it. The sparseness is the point. It creates space for the vocal, and it creates tension through what is not there. The silence between the hits matters as much as the hits themselves. This changed what skill means in production. Previously, a skilled producer was someone who could layer many elements into a coherent, dense mix. Now a skilled producer is someone who knows what to leave out, who can create impact with 3 sounds instead of 30, who understands how silence functions as an active element, not just absence of sound. Silence in minimal music is not empty, it is charged. It creates anticipation and tension. When a beat drops out for a measure, the silence pulls you forward. You are waiting for the sound to return. The space makes the eventual hit feel bigger. This is ancient musical knowledge. Tension and release, but minimal production foregrounds it, makes it the main event. Vocals have changed too. In minimal production, the voice is often dry and exposed, sitting right in front of the mix with minimal reverb or effects. This creates intimacy, like the artist is right next to you, whispering in your ear. It is the opposite of the huge reverb-soaked vocals of 1980s production, which created distance and grandeur. Minimal production wants closeness. This vocal approach also works well for confessional lyrical content, which dominates contemporary music. If you are singing about depression, or anxiety, or personal struggle, the exposed, vulnerable vocal sound matches the emotional content. A big produced vocal would create distance. Minimal production keeps everything raw and direct. The economics matter too. Minimal production is cheaper and faster. You do not need a full band or expensive studio time or days of mixing. One producer with a laptop can create a hit track in hours. This democratizes music production, which has positive effects. More people can make professional sounding music, but it also contributes to the overwhelming volume of content and the disposability of individual tracks. Minimalism also functions as counter-programming after decades of increasingly maximal production. With every frequency filled and everything compressed to maximum loudness, minimal production sounds fresh and different. The space and dynamics are a relief. The pendulum swings back, but it is never just aesthetic preference. It is always connected to material conditions of production, distribution, and listening. Some people criticize minimal production as lazy or boring, and you hear this from older listeners, especially those who grew up with dense, complex arrangements. They experience minimal tracks as unfinished or lacking. But this is missing the point. The minimalism is doing specific work. It is not failed maximalism. It is successful minimalism with its own aesthetic logic. That logic is about focus and clarity in an environment of overwhelming information overload. When you are bombarded with content constantly, the brain craves simplicity. Minimal music production offers that. It is not demanding. It does not require your full attention. You can listen while doing other things. But it is also not boring. The careful use of space and the exposed vocal keep it engaging. You also see minimalism spreading beyond production into performance and visual presentation. Live shows are often more stripped down. One artist and a laptop or a DJ. Rather than a full band. Music videos use simple sets and concepts rather than elaborate narratives. The whole aesthetic package trends toward reduction across multiple dimensions simultaneously. This connects to broader cultural aesthetics. Minimalism and design and architecture and fashion all became dominant around the same time as minimal music production. The causes overlap. Digital interfaces privilege clean, simple designs that work on small screens. Social media aesthetics reward bold, simple images that read quickly even when you are scrolling fast. Everything is getting stripped down for mobile consumption. But there is also something about minimal aesthetics that expresses contemporary experience. The feeling of being overwhelmed by complexity and information and stimulation, and wanting to reduce to essentials to find clarity in simplicity. Minimalism is both response to and reflection of information overload. You cannot process everything, so you reduce to what matters most. In music, what matters most is rhythm and voice. Minimal production strips away everything else. The beat keeps you grounded in your body, gives you something to move to. Even if you are just nodding your head, the voice carries emotion and meaning and personality. Everything else is negotiable. This feels right for a moment, when people are craving connection and embodiment. After too much time in digital abstraction, we are also seeing interesting hybrids where producers will use minimal frameworks, but add one or two unexpected elements that create surprise within the simplicity. A weird vocal effect or an odd instrument or a sudden shift in the arrangement. These deviations work because the overall context is minimal. The strange element stands out. Looking forward, it is hard to say if minimal production will continue to dominate, or if we will see a swing back toward complexity. Probably some hybrid. The cycle of action and reaction that drives aesthetic change suggests maximalism will return eventually, but it will be different, informed by everything that came during the minimal era. What we can say is that minimal production aesthetics reflect real changes in how music gets made, distributed, and consumed. They are not arbitrary fashion. They are responses to material conditions. Streaming platforms, mobile listening, short-form video, global circulation. All of these shape what works musically, and minimal production works in these contexts. But minimal production also shapes listening itself. When you get used to sparse, exposed music, more complex arrangements can feel cluttered and exhausting. Your ears adjust to the aesthetic. You are immersed in this. Is always how it works. The music changes you as much as you choose the music. Understanding why minimal beats dominate is about understanding the relationship between technology, economics, and aesthetics. How the tools and platforms and economic structures shape what music sounds like, which then shapes how we hear and what we expect. In this case, less became more, not because of some abstract artistic principle, but because less works better in the actual conditions under which most music gets listened to now. The silence is not empty, it is doing work. The space is not laziness, it is intention, and recognizing that changes how you listen. Subscriptions and likes are a huge help in building this channel.